Hello and welcome to TV on TV. I'm State Representative Tommy Vitolo. You're watching Brookline Interactive Group. Today is Thursday, March 16th, split just between the Ides of March and St. Paddy's Day, and we have a great show for you today. We've got an interview we taped a week or two back with Tom Barrasso, the Director of Sustainability for the town of Brookline. And while we're not going to talk about all things sustainable or green, we are going to talk about one really great way to both save money and be greener, and that is to participate in Brookline Green Electricity. You can certainly read about it on brooklinegreen.com, but you can also stay tuned and watch the interview. First, of course, the news. On Friday, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. A bank known for lending to startups, SVB's collapse was preceded by the closure of a cryptocurrency bank, which led to a run on deposits at Silicon Valley Bank. President Biden has stated that there will be no taxpayer-funded bailouts. Yesterday, a federal judge heard a Texas case that aims to restrict access to mifepristone, the abortion medication used in most abortions nationwide. Yesterday, Governor Healy announced that the COVID-19 public health state of emergency will end on May 11th, the same day that the federal state of emergency ends as well. Wellesley College students voted in support of admitting trans men to the women's college. The school's administration has stated that they will not revise their current policy of only admitting students who identify as women to align with the vote. Rise Up Coalition, the group behind the millionaire's tax in Massachusetts, has filed paperwork for two 2024 ballot questions. One to raise the minimum wage to $20, and another related to the recent income surtax. The Brookline delegation, including U.S. Congressman Auchincloss, State Senator Cream, and Representatives Vitolo, Balzer, and Honan, met with the Brookline School Committee on Monday to discuss issues impacting local students and schools. The news was brief. And on to the interview. Right on the flip side, stay tuned for a conversation with Brookline's Director of Sustainability, Tom Barrasso, about Brookline's Green Electricity Program. See you on the flip side. And as I mentioned earlier, today on TV here on Brookline Interactive Group, we've got my good friend and Director of Sustainability for Brookline, Tom Barrasso. Tom, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Representative, for having me. This is a great opportunity to talk about the program.
And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Brookline Green Electricity Program, which is a community choice aggregation program. Remind us what the heck that's all about.
It's essentially volume buying power. So it's a program that Brookline has been involved with since about 2017. It's been very successful. So think of it like a giant price club. So we've got all the residents together trying to get the best possible price on electricity. And doing so, we sort of all get together as a consortium, and the town actually goes out and negotiates contracts every 5 years to supply electricity rates to our consumers, our customers, our residents in town.
And so if you're an electricity customer, that's it. That's what's happening. And you just pay your bills, or what do customers have in terms of choices?
There's 3 different choices this year. We've got Brookline Basic, Brookline Green, and Brookline All Green. So part of what Brookline did, so it's not just about price, it's also about what's coming outside from the suppliers into your home. So if you want additional green options, you can actually opt up to those different programs inside the BGE program itself. And so those are coming from renewable sources of power, so much greener infrastructure, which gives you a better buying choice as a informed consumer to make the right decision for the planet.
And is Eversource still involved in this, or have we just cut them out completely?
Yes, Eversource is definitely involved. So if you look at your utility bill, there's two components to it, and it will always be Eversource because they are the command utility structure that we have in Brookline for electricity. So you will see that you have a supplier, and you will see that you have a distributor or the entity that actually delivers your energy. So if you think of it like a pipe, so the pipe is still owned by Eversource, but the stuff that's coming in the pipe is actually where the consumer choice is, and that was part of the deregulated market that you probably know the date better than I in terms of when that actually occurred. But that's the choice that we have. What's coming in that pipe to our devices and our homes and the energy that we use. So Eversource is definitely involved. Your bill will not change. It will be Eversource, but you will notice in the supplier section of that bill, that's where the difference will be. And the contract that we just signed in December, I believe, went into effect with the January 23 meter reading, you will see as Next Era Energy. That is the supplier company. So that is the only change in your bill aside from the actual rate itself.
So you didn't say, but it sounds like the customer still only gets one bill, and it's still from Eversource.
Correct. One bill, still from your utility company, Eversource.
But the difference is in one line, that supply line is from a competitive supplier. That change, of course, happened in 1998 in the Deregulating Act, shows up there in the session laws of 1998. So you get your bill, and the supply line says Next Era, and it probably has the price per kilowatt hour. And how is that different from if I were just a plain old boring Eversource customer?
It differs dramatically at this point. We all know that the market is in kind of a tough place right now with the cost of energy, whether it's natural gas or electricity, which end up affecting each other. So right now, if you were staying with Eversource and you were an Eversource customer, their residential rate is around 25, call it 26 cents per kilowatt hour. The packages that we're offering for Brookline Basic, we're at about 14.7, so 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Brookline Green, around 16.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And Brookline All Green, where your portfolio is totally renewable, is 18.6, so call it 19 cents per kilowatt hour.
And to clarify, that's just for what comes in the pipes. That's not paying for the pipes. So that's not your total rate. That's the rate of the supply. Is that right?
Correct. So the two components in your bill, the supply and the delivery mechanism. The delivery mechanism still owned by Eversource, and so there's a separate charge for that. So you will notice two lines, two completely different columns, which add together to become your bill.
But at the end of the day, customers on the Brookline product are going to pay between 11 and 7 cents, if I did my math correctly, less per kilowatt hour. So that sounds really great. So how do I subscribe? I want in on the savings.
It's pretty easy to do. As an opt-out program, everybody that was in our portfolio actually got signed up for it. So if you do nothing, you're in the program. There's several options that if you want to go greener, you can select those. If you go to our website, which is, and I don't want to misquote myself, so I'll actually look that up for you, but it's brooklinegreen.com. If you go to that website, all the information is there. If you are not opted into the program, or if you want to change your opt-in package at any time, you can do that. Otherwise, you can also contact my office. So Tom Barrasso at the town of Brookline, and I will get you in touch with the right people to get you the right product or the right option that you want to make.
So if I've never done anything, if I've been, I've been living in Brookline for a while, I've got my electric bill and I've never done anything, I'm going to be a Brookline Green customer. Which of the three is the default?
The Brookline Green, which is the 16.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And even if you were never involved with the program, you don't know if you were in the program, this is an excellent time to double check. So you should have a look at your bill. I've been advising everyone to do that. Just make sure that you see the Next Era, you see the BGE program. If you don't see those things, definitely give my office a call or go to the website.
And so Brookline Green is that Goldilocks, that just right, that middle portion of the program. And maybe if I look at my bill, it doesn't say next era. Maybe it says, Fred Smith's energy supply. How would that happen? And what circumstance would lead to me not having next era listed as my supplier?
Sure. And that deregulated marketplace, you as the end user, the consumer, can go and select your third party. So you could have already done this and selected someone else besides the BGE program. That may be what your family or your household has decided to do, and that's perfectly fine. But again, double check that to make sure the rates are something that you want. If you want to get out of the program that you're in with your third party supplier, double check with them to make sure that there are no penalties. If there are, you may need to either live with it or decide to jump ship and come over to BGE.
So why does the town even do this? Why, what's in it for you, man? What's in it for town government?
It's part of what we want to do to make sure that our residents are getting the best possible electric rates, and also that we're greening our portfolio. So the fact that we've done it as a town representing our residents is critical, because there's a lot of places in the marketplace where people may not be getting the best possible deal, and then that's something that the town needs to look out for. So we're giving you another option to the other elements that are out there in the marketplace, where hopefully there's trust and value there, because we are representing you, the residents of our town.
But the town doesn't make sure that I don't pay too much for a Coca-Cola or for a Toyota Prius or anything else I buy. Why this?
This affects everybody, and it's a critical component to keeping your household running. So I think when you go out, if you want a Coca-Cola, you buy a Coca-Cola. You really can't live without electricity these days. Everything that we're doing is powered by electricity. We're moving towards an all-electric economy in most sense, in terms of building electrification, electric vehicles. So to ensure that we're in that marketplace in a good position is where the town is looking out for the residents and consumers.
And how long has this program been around?
We have been in the program as Brookline since about 2017. And again, you may know better when actual things kicked off, but the aggregation as an entity has been around for quite some time. I think it's become very popular during the green communities evolution within the state of Mass, as each community was sort of becoming a green community. I think there was more awareness there. And that's, at least in my career, the first time that I encountered it as a green community under Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, and looking at different options that we could bring to the table for community members.
Now, when the program was first created and it had its first sort of 3-year window, I remember that the renewables that were part of everybody's electricity, plus the additional renewables that were part of Brookline's program, got customers to something like 50%. And then 3 years later, for the re-up, the state was requiring a little bit more, and the town was able to require a little bit more, and it went to something like 60 or 65%. But this new contract, which if I remember correctly is a 2-year contract, what are we talking about for this contract?
Sure. Let's just quickly talk about the terms of the contract. So normally we do these in 5-year increments. This year, because again, the volatility in the marketplace, it seemed wiser to do a 2-year contract rather than the 5. So we have a 2-year window in which nothing will change. So maybe unlike the other third-party suppliers, this is pretty much a solid fact that you can actually plan and budget for. You will know what your per kilowatt rate hour for that supply side is going to be. So in our ultimate package, sort of the Brookline all green, that is 100% renewable. So you're seeing 100% in the portfolio. I think the math, again, you're going to do the math much better than I, but if we look at the mathematics, you're probably actually buying more than 100%, which seems impossible, but the way the math works, it actually is.
So the default program, by the time you're in the second year, is 100% green. And if you go above that, you're buying more than 100% green, which I agree sounds impossible, but it actually is possible. You're actually helping to green your neighbor who's not participating. And if you opt down to the basic, you're not at 0% green, are you?
No, because the state still requires a greening of the portfolio. So you're at that state standard. So no matter which option you've got, you're still providing a platform for renewable energy to sort of to move forth and then sort of blossom in the state of Mass.
So the opt down is as green as Eversource and a lot cheaper.
And a lot cheaper, correct.
And the Brookline Basic is substantially greener than Eversource and still cheaper. And you could even go and sort of, go like this and help green your neighbors. That's actually what we do in my household. We figure, we'll help our neighbor across the street or down the street or something, make up for it. You can sort of rationalize it as well. I drive a car, so it's kind of like greening up some of the miles of my car. You can sort of invent lots of stories that help it make sense. Now, you may not know the exact number, but is this program unique to Brookline, or other communities sort of going about this the same way?
Yes, I mean, our contract is unique to Brookline because we negotiated it, but the program itself is not unique. It's pretty much what a good chunk of the Commonwealth is doing. In fact, we've seen a dramatic uptick in the sort of interest in the program, since the marketplace is really volatile. And I think, again, when people come to the program for maybe cost savings and start to realize what the greening end of it is actually all about, and the support for renewables, I think they stay with it.
Now, you mentioned that this price is locked in for 2 years, but the Eversource price, I know, and maybe maybe our viewers know, maybe they don't, is updated every 6 months. So their price changes every 6 months. So are we guaranteed that our Brookline community choice aggregation price, our Brookline Green, will be cheaper than the utility forever?
Not forever, for the duration of the contract. And again, we have no control over what the non-supply side, so the delivery side is. So there will be changes, obviously, to that as well. So you can budget with the fact that you know what that supply side is going to be for your household.
Now, let's say 5 months, let's say in the next few months, Ukraine defeats Russia, natural gas prices globally go down a little bit because supply loosens up, right? And as a result, the wholesale energy market in New England shows some price reduction, and Eversource 6 months from now is actually cheaper than Brookline Green. Am I, as a customer, stuck with the decisions of the Director of Sustainability, Tom Barrasso? Am I stuck with Brookline Green?
No, you are not. You can opt out at any time in the program. My recommendation usually is to stay with the program. The marketplace is a roller coaster. So, if you want to take that ride, you're welcome to do so. But again, from a budget standpoint, you're going to know what your supply rate is for the duration of that contract, which is going to be 2 years.
And of course, while it is lower cost, you said the price is the same, the amount of consumption in an individual household is going to vary, right? We expect it to be higher in the winter. Even if you don't have electric heating because of the lighting, we expect it to be higher in the summer because of air conditioning. But that lower price means if you decide to electrify your cooktop, electrify your heating with heat pumps, electrify your vehicle with an EV, those savings get even bigger over time, right? Because your consumption of electricity goes up when you electrify, and this price difference saves more and more.
Correct. And again, it doesn't negate any of the other things that you really need to be doing for your household as well, which is the energy savings and looking at trying to insulate, trying to reduce consumption, trying to make sure that you've got the best appliances that are Energy Star rated. So still doing the same things that we want to make sure that we bring our overall usage down.
So we've told people how to check. They go to brooklinegreen.com. They can learn about the program. We told people how to look on their bill You pull out your Eversource bill, you look at that supply line, and it should say next era. And we've told folks, if it's not the right program for you, you can opt up, you can opt down, you can opt out, right? Lots of choices. What if I've got like solar panels on my house? Does that change anything?
If you've got direct power coming off your roof, direct into your household, direct into battery storage, that will change your overall consumption. However, you've still got to be hooked to the grid for the times that you're not generating power. Or the times that you need more power than your system can actually produce.
But I could still be in the program. I don't need to fill out any extra forms or get permission from anyone.
No, you do not.
How about if I'm a renter? I don't even own my home.
If you're a renter and you are paying your own electricity bill, then it is up to you as the end user of that to actually get in the program, or you'll be opted into the program when the contract comes up.
So as long as there's an electric bill that shows up in your name, you can be part of this program. And if you haven't done anything, it sounds like you probably are a part of this program.
Correct. And we've had a few instances of calls where residents who don't pay their electricity bill, and it's all done in part of a consortium, actually have called and said, hey, can you talk to my landlord? And we'd be more than happy to do that and make sure that they are enrolled in the program or get them enrolled.
Now, what if, I just moved to Brookline early January, I got a lease, I got signed up for electric, and I'm plugged into the community. I'm watching Brookline Interactive Group all the time. I'm tuned into TV on TV. I pull out my bill. In fact, it probably won't say next era, will it?
It may not. If you've just moved in, then that's something you need to double check and make sure that it is.
So if you've just moved in, it's possible that you haven't been enrolled in the program yet. If you do nothing, eventually you will be. But I suppose if you're anxious to get those savings sooner rather than later, and why wouldn't you be, you can go ahead and get yourself in right away.
Correct. And again, at any time, if you don't either understand your electric bill or you have any questions at all, please call my office and we'd be more than happy to help you. We've had a great number of phone calls in this transition period between the old contract and the new. So we're kind of getting the hang of making sure that everybody gets the right information.
And, paying less per kilowatt hour is better than paying more. But of course, the best kilowatt is a negawatt, is to not use it at all. So do you have any suggestions, any tips, particularly in wintertime, for the viewers to help them reduce their consumption in the first place, which of course, better for the climate and better for their pocketbooks?
Sure. As good New Englanders, we need to have our good variety of different clothing. So get your sweater, make sure that you've got that, turn the thermostat down a bit. Weatherize, that is the key to almost everything. Even if you're upgrading your heating HVAC system to a heat pump, if you're not weatherizing and taking care of that building envelope, then the savings are going to go out the window, so to speak. So make sure that the windows are sealed, doors are sealed, you got the thermostat turned down a bit, and you've got your good sweater.
Now, certainly, if you own your house, you have the most flexibility. If you live in a condo, you might not have full flexibility, right? You may only have some ability. And if you rent, you have even less. But everybody has the ability to put on a sweater, right? Everybody has the ability to get in this program. There's some other things you can do too. If you've got, the old wooden windows with those sash locks, those locks cost like $1.80 each. And when they're broken and the window doesn't close all the way, that's your heat going right out the window. So, you can either ask your landlord to do it, or you can swing over to the hardware store and pick up a sash lock for $1.80 and reinstall that guy on, and make sure that those windows are closed, right? That's an example of something where even if you're a renter, you may be able to, do a quick little thing and help save money. Of course, there's like the saran wrap over the windows. That actually works. It seems a little ridiculous. It does work. It's a pain in the neck. But if you're looking to save some money, even as a renter, it's something you can do, right? Of course, if you're a homeowner, you can call Mass Save. You can go to the Mass Save website. They'll come out. They'll look at your insulation situation, your air sealing situation, and they can make a series of recommendations. They have great grants and subsidies to reduce the price of things. My wife and I, when our gas-fired water heater broke and spilled 50 gallons of water all over the basement, we were prepared. Everything was on pallets, so nothing got ruined. We replaced it with an air source heat pump water heater that cost more to buy, even with the rebate, but costs a lot less to operate, right? So Mass Save has all kinds of programs. They also have an interest-free loan program. If you own, I encourage you to get them on the phone, get them to your house. The sooner you invest in your house, the sooner those savings start adding up. And that can be electric. That can also be if you have gas heating or oil heating on the gas and oil side. Totally worth it. Even reducing your water consumption can save both on the water bill and on your water heating bill if we're talking about showers. So there's lots of different ways that folks can reduce their bill as long as they're paying it. If somebody else is paying it, good for you. But if you're paying it, there are lots of things you can do in terms of behavior and in terms of small investments and maybe big investments. All of it adds up, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure folks in Brookline, they're saving money and they're saving the earth at the same time. What could be better than that?
Exactly. And the low interest or the no interest loan from Mass Save is an excellent tool. So again, it takes the Mass Save Energy audit. They'll come out to your house. That immediately gets you qualified to put in for that request. So if you are looking at major upgrades or something happens in your house, definitely that's a good path to take.
Tom, I really appreciate you coming on Brookline Interactive Group. Tom Barrasso, Director of Sustainability in Brookline. I know you're keeping an eye on Amesbury and bringing all their ideas into our town as well. I know you're very busy. You've got lots going on, so I'm very grateful for you to take the time to come on the show.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate to talk to you and talk to everybody out there.
And we'll go ahead and get that information out as many ways as we can. So folks know brooklinegreen.com is where they can learn about this program, and brooklineinteractive.org is where they can learn about Brookline Interactive. That's all we've got for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.